What is going on, everyone? And today we are here for week 11 of the Falken Tyres Fixed GT4 Track Guide series, and this week we are at Circuit de Ledenon. Obviously a new circuit that came out at the start of this build. So very, I guess you could say it's a bit like a go-kart, billy kart style of circuit. It's a very old circuit by the looks of the actual asphalt. Lots of undulation, lots of long radius corners, lots of places to make little mistakes, couple of blind corners as well, so it is a bit of a challenge, but once you start to really unlock how the track flows, it is a lot of fun around here, and you can really sort of put the car on the edge. So just want to say thank you to everybody that's been watching our content every week. We really appreciate it, guys. So if you want to also check out a guide here in the GT3, we did a Ferrari guide earlier in the season, which you can check that out up here, but if not, I just sort of give you the difference between the two cars as well, because it was quite interesting. So but other than that, guys, let's get into week 11 at Circuit de Ledenon in the GT4 Mercedes. Alright, guys, so now we're going to break down the lap. So as we're coming down the start finish line, we cross over. You can see we're on the right hand side. We're just going to start to slide down here. So as you can see, we're carrying a lot of speed into the corner. We start to turn, and we're actually braking just here, just a little bit further at this first orange cone before the blue cone. So that's where we start to brake. Now, as you can see, we've taken a bit of a strange line in here. We're actually going to try and flow the car through here quite aggressively. So you'll see I'm not exactly touching the curb on the inside, but I'm getting close to it. I run the car to mid-track. I release the brake, and then I tap the brake again to start to get the nose in. As you can see, the nose starts to rotate. I get a lot closer to this curb on the way through. As you can see, as we come off the curb, I actually stab the throttle to try and get the car to take off a little bit, and then once I stabbed it, then I'm back on the brake again, and I'm back down to second gear. So you're just trying to flow as much momentum as possible. You'll see I put half the car over the back of the curb. As soon as I get to that point there, and this line really starts to take a curve off the curb, that's when I start to turn the car back at the corner. You'll see I use a lot of curb on the inside here coming through this part. I want to clip the apex in line with that tree roughly, just a little bit around that point there. And then as you come off, the car's going to push. It's got a little bit of understeer, but it's not too bad. You're going to then follow the car across the curb here, aim for the edge of the pit building just up in the distance there to aim towards the outside of the circuit on the left-hand side. Now, once you get the car straight by the curb, you'll see just a little bit further up, there's like the white line slightly changes direction. So once we get there, you'll see nice big brake pressure now. See the car starts to dive down. I only go back one gear to second gear here, so I actually like roll the car in. As you can see, I blow past the exit at the entry apex, and I'm actually going to try and line the car up on the exit here. So you'll see I clip the apex just in line with this part here. I'm actually using that little orange like painted bit of Armco in the distance as sort of like a reference marker for me as I come out of the corner. Make sure you get to 100% throttle as quick as possible here, because this is the bit where it's crucial. You're going up a hill, so you've got a lot more grip than you actually think you do. As you come over the crest, you start to set yourself up on the right-hand side. Now, this one's a bit of a funny one. There's no real brake marker as per se, so as you can see, the car's starting to dive down here. Now, when you're sort of looking for reference points, there's nothing here. There is, if you have triples, you might be able to catch the end of the Armco on the left-hand side, but it is quite a distance away, and for you to actually turn your head and look over there when you're focusing on your marker is quite challenging. So I usually say it's about 6 to 7 car lengths from the corner, because you're only in third. Sometimes you just crack fourth, and then you're going back to second anyway. So you'll see here, nice big brake pressure. I turned the car in quite early, but I kind of purposely missed the main apex to really get the car on the back half of the corner here. You'll see I wrap the car around, and I sort of want to be coming off the apex at this point here, so just sort of nearly in line with that traffic light just over there on behind the tyre wall over there. And then from that point there, I really start to open the steering as fast as possible, use as much of the circuit as possible. You don't want to dip them left-hand tyres past that white line, because you'll get an off-track, but you can use quite a lot of curb there. This one is quite simple. You come through the kink at high speed, set yourself up on the left-hand side as much as possible. You don't really want to drift across, so sort of sacrifice a little bit of mid-corner here to really make sure you're setting yourself up for the next braking zone. So as you come down the hill, this one's a bit unique in the way that I'm actually sort of just going to stop it right here. So I'm braking just before the start of this sand here, but it's only like an initial brake, and then it's really, I'm just trailing the car with the brake through the corner, as you'll see here. So I turn the car in quite early and aggressively. I use a lot of curb on the inside, and then you'll see the car actually slides past the apex, and I actually run over the back of the curb, and I put it on this like concrete bit out here. Now, the reason I do that is because it's on an angle, it's actually creating a little bit more downforce for me to actually stop the car, because the car's braking at a funny angle, so it puts more pressure on the tyres. So you don't get any off tracks, any penalties for that. I've found if I go any further than the right hand tyres off that concrete bit, it does get a bit harder. As you'll see here, I was probably just a slight bit wide. I turned the car in a lot earlier because I've got a lot more grip and actual braking ability than I thought I was going to have here. So I turned in just before the end of the curb, and it turns in too early. As you'll see at this point here, I actually get up on the curb far too much, and I kind of really want you guys to be clipping your apex at this point here, in line with the iRacing billboard, to really focus on the drive up the hill. As you can see, because I turned in early, I hit the apex at the wrong point, and it hasn't completely upset the balance, but you'll see on the exit here, I push a lot wider than I want to, and I actually have to give it a lot more steering and throttle to really get the car to rotate through the corner. Now, this next one's the trickiest one, because you can't see the apex approach. You'll actually see I turn in probably about 1.5 meters too early. I'm still able to work with it, but you probably just want to get to, there's some tyre wall on the right hand side just up here. You probably want to get just before that, where I'm probably about a car length. You probably want to be like 0.5 meter before that. Turn the car in. As you can see, I still managed to make the corner work, but it was just a slight too early turn in. I run the car over the back of the curb here, and then once I get to the end of that concrete strip, I start to rotate the car at the corner. As we rotate through the corner, same again here, I want to hit the back half of the apex. You'll see I'm putting a lot more brake into it. I use a lot of curb on the inside here. It does push a little bit here, so you've got to be careful, but if you're patient with the throttle, the car will pick up quite nicely, and then you'll be able to drive it out. You see I'm a little bit wide, but even though I'm wide, I'm still able to make the corner, make this curb down here. It doesn't really matter as long as you're on the throttle from that apex all the way down the hill here. Now, this last bit's a little bit challenging in the way you set it up. So I'm braking at this point here. Okay, so on the inside of the circuit on the left-hand side here, there's like a concrete patch and then it goes to sand. So my front end is nearly just in line with the end of the concrete patch, the start of the sand. It's not quite, it's probably half a meter to an extra meter and a half, somewhere in that region away. And you'll see as I approach this next corner, I actually use a lot of curb on the inside, brake, downshift 2 gears, and I turn the car in at the corner very early because you'll see it cambers in again, but then you want to make sure the car actually rotates really nice so you can pick that throttle up nice and early and carry the speed up the hill. As you can see there, use 3/4 of the car over the back of the curb here, run it up, and head towards the start finish line. And there you go, guys. That is your walkthrough track guide of Lebanon in the GT4 for week 11's fixed track guide series for the Falken Tyres. I hope this helps you guys. Good luck for your week of racing, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week for week 12, the last week of the season. So we'll see you then.